Military Broadcast Radio, the station that's giving veterans a voice.
Find us on the web at mbradio.us.
Welcome, Quack.
Opinions expressed in this program are those of the speakers and do not necessarily reflect the views or positions of any entities they represent.
Ladies and gentlemen, broadcasting from Veteran Studios, it's another edition of the Aries Brood podcast.
So loud. All right. Thank you for joining us this afternoon. So my name is Lucas, and I'm the host of Aries Brood podcast. And today we're going to go over, it is the spooky season, for some folks that just never ends, and there is no season, but it is getting closer to to Halloween, and unfortunately summer is coming to an end.
Boo.
Right.
Boo. Dude, I was already pissed off when I came in this morning and it was like pitch black. I'm like, geez.
Right. So it's so here in Colorado, it's starting to get a little cooler in the mornings. It was we came into the studio with everything was wet from rain, and
that's the truth.
Yeah, it was
and I was gonna ride my bike this morning. And I woke up and I'm like, ugh, not happening. Just not happening.
Right. So it is getting colder, and it's getting darker, and so it is ripe for some spooky games. And so we're going to touch on a couple games now. A favorite, like, little solo horror journaling game, that is a favorite of mine. We're gonna touch on a little bit, and then we're going to get into Psycho Killer, just like a fun, crazy little card game that because, as we all know, we just got to be faster than the other guy when there's what is
a Psycho Killer? Does it reflect the American Psycho Killer, the movie?
So you got like these psycho killers, that are after you and you don't want them, and so you were just trying to give them to the other guy, basically. And you're trying not to get whacked by them. So, but it's a great, fast-paced card game that can be played at about 30 minutes, kind of depending on your crowd, I guess. But it's about 2 to 6 players, as you see here. And so it's a great game by Escape Tabletop Games. And it's just been a fun little find that I found.
Okay, now first question, because I can just hear some people ask. Okay, is this like a VCR game? Kind of like wrestling, when they had that first wrestling game and you played the wrestling and you went through the board. Do you need a VCR to play this game?
Oh, no, I wish, because that'd be cool.
But
no, it is just a card game.
Okay. So that's just the case.
Yeah. So
okay. All right. So everybody,
just a little card game.
Settle down. Don't worry about it.
Yeah,
you don't have to go out and we don't have to go out to Goodwill and buy a VCR.
Right.
You're worrying people, man. You're worrying people.
So I love, just like how, retro, the branding of this thing is, because it goes for like 80s slasher tropes, and and so then they went so far as to even just kind of make the box like a VHS, which I think is hilarious. But so but yeah, it's fun. It's fun. All right. So we're going to get into a little sesh of Whispers in the Walls. Now, so both Mohawk Wyatt, just another one of our podcasters here, a recent cast member, I guess. I don't know. So he is he's joined us, and so yeah, the last time that we played Whispers in the Walls, then we played together, and so this go around we're just gonna kind of walk through it ourselves. And in that episode, I didn't do like a bit of the setup, and so I'm going to get into a little bit of the setup of this game because it's just so dang easy. So away we go.
And just so you know, while you're doing that, I'm looking up the history because I think it's really important that we describe the history. Like, is this, based on true events? What year is this based on? I'm bringing it up now. And it says the history and origins. The game was designed by Michael Wilkinson and Mitch Young.
Okay.
It's published by Escape Tabletop Games. The Kickstarter release, Psycho Killer, was kickstarted in 2020, and then later distributed more broadly after its successful campaign. The theme and inspiration, the game leans heavily into retro slasher horror movies, 70s, 80s vibe. Give or take the VHS. Hint, hint. Using iconic tropes, weapons, VHS aesthetics, etc. It's meant to evoke the feel of those old horror films. Player time age is best for to be about 2 to 6 players. Playing time roughly about 15 to 30 minutes. I'm sure it's more than that if I'm playing. Recommended age 13. And how it plays, mechanics in brief. Players draw, play, manage cards in hand. Some cards are normal, some predicaments, some are weapons, etc. There are 5 Psycho Killer cards in the deck. When one is drawn, certain things happen. Weapons cause injury to players who hold them. Players accumulate injury points via injury piles. Weapons that have been exposed when the Psycho Killer shows up and a certain card effects. The game ends when the 5th Psycho Killer is drawn. Then whoever has the fewest points in injury wins.
That's it.
That's it.
Yeah.
But do you remember what I'm talking about? Like, remember the first WWF game that came out with? It was like a board game, and you had to put the VCH in there. And
so I just had the figures kind of growing up, just the little action figures.
Oh yeah, I have the rubber ones.
Yeah,
the good ones.
Yeah,
the good ones, not the crappy plastic ones that you throw a center. Who hasn't thrown a center block on the wrestler? You know what I mean? Who hasn't? And the plastic ones, you did that and it just busted. You did that with the rubber ones, nothing. But I remember. That's one of the first board games that was interactive. They called that interactive.
Right.
Yeah, I gave up on it. I just started watching wrestling.
Yeah. No. God, I'm trying to remember the name of it. There was this VHS game that you would basically just kind of stop. When it told you to stop, and you were kind of going around a room or going around the board, just rolling and trying to get trying to find like keys for doors and and all kinds of like little stuff. Got the name escapes me, but it had like this like creepy dude in like this like cloaked robe that would tell you what you needed to do. And it was pretty cool. Now it has since, I think, like been made like an app game. So now like it is not VHS or DVD for that matter, but
No, you're probably streaming now.
oh yeah, more than likely. Yeah, you could probably play it on YouTube now or something. I don't know, but yeah, but it was pretty great. Oh, that's gonna annoy me that I can't remember. But
Well, I'm looking right now to see if it's based in a true story. It just told me that no,
Psycho
it's
Killer, no,
it's just a statistical horror themed party game inspired by classic slasher films. So.
yeah. So all right. So well then I guess on that note, we will get to Whispers in the Walls if we have time. But yeah, we'll get into start off with a little Psycho Killer. So Psycho Killer. You got you are all lost in the woods, and there are 5 psychos that are trying to kill you. And so like I've said this about some other games. So Ravine, for instance, like a game that we had played in past episodes, it had a player aid card, and thank God this game has player aid cards as well. And I cannot stress enough how amazing it is to have a player aid card that just give you like little notes as to like what symbols like mean in the game, and just kind of like what you can do on your turn, stuff like that. It's amazing. So each player has this little survival guide that they're going to have, and this survival guide just goes over all of the VHS symbols. And it's funny because like some of these VHS symbols, I don't know, maybe new for I don't know some folks, but I think that they're pretty standard, So you've got fast forward, play, rewind, eject, and stop. And so then you'll have like cards like this one, like it's behind you. And so with this card, you're going to pick up a total of 5 points worth of weapons cards from any injury pile. So everybody is going to be accumulating injuries kind of like as the game goes. And so then you will collect weapon cards, like from injury piles from the other players. So if there are no weapons cards, then you shuffle this card back into the deck. And then now I'm getting ahead of myself. So we have these 5 psychos here, and then we have a deck. Now this deck, we're going to put all the psychos in here. And so what's so easy about this game is just that nobody starts with any cards. Everybody starts with nothing. And so I've put the psychos in here, and then I'm going to just start shuffling up this deck. And so everybody is going to be kind of going from this deck. And now the rules tell you to split the deck into 2. So being a left and a right. And I think that's fun and thematic, because you're lost in the woods, and so you're running along, and so you can just go like left or right. And so, but we are ultimately starting. Whoop. All right, put this deck in the middle. All right. And then we're going to split it into two. Now, so we know that somewhere, like in these two piles are 5 psycho killers. And so we don't want psycho killers. They're no fun when you run into them. And so ideally what you're trying to do is you're trying to get less or you're trying to take less damage than everybody else that you're playing with. Because as you know, when being chased by a bear or by anything, then really you don't have to necessarily be fast. You just got to be faster than whoever else you're running with, right?
I shit my pants.
So so everybody's taking damage and such, but you are you're just trying to take less damage than everybody else, and whoever has the least amount of damage or the least amount of on their injury pile at the end of the game then wins. Now, when does the end of the game come? Well, the end of the game comes when all 5 killers have been revealed. And so let's
I was about ready to sing "This Is a Song That Never Ends."
Right?
Yeah.
So we've got we've got our little player card that tells us what our symbols are, and then now technically your turn is you play a card and then you draw a card, and drawing a card ends your turn. But since nobody starts with any cards, then what you do is you just draw a card. So I'm going to draw a card, and well, isn't that apropos? So I have drawn a psycho killer, and so this means, I stop, and then the eject. You must play this card immediately after drawing it, unless you are left for dead. And left for dead, we'll talk about when we get there. But basically, when somebody has taken 10 injury points, then you are left for dead, and then the rules get a little different for you. But so we will get into the rest of this game when we get back from a break. But stick with us, and we will get a little further into Psycho Killer.
I pledge my allegiance to her, from sea to shining sea. She held her torch to the sky to give the world liberty. What about us? What about we? What about living the American dream? What about love? In God we trust. These are the things they want us all to believe. What about us? What about we, the people? What about us? What about we, the people? The people walk through the streets, holding up protest signs. Try not to repeat our history. Maybe no one will have to die. What about us? What about we? What about living the American dream? And what about hope? Trust God, let go. These are the phrases they want us to believe. What about us? What about we, the people? What about
does is it gives me 3 injury points right off the bat. So, well on my way to being left for dead. And so then our next person then is going, so then the next player that is just going to pick. They can pick, from they can pick from the left or right pile. Either one doesn't really matter. And all right, and so then they have drawn a booby trap, and so now you can keep all of these in your card, in your hand, and so we're gonna say this will be like where we'll keep that player's cards, and then we're gonna add a third player here. So then this third player, then they've got a card. All right, so then you just start, like picking up cards, and now, so for instance, this booby trap card, what you're going to do is you can swap any card in your hand with the top card on either deck. So so what you can do is, like, because ideally you want to avoid, like drawing cards. So let's say this player then decides to play their booby trap, and they're going to swap like this card. So they're gonna play on their turn. Oh, and now they have pulled a psycho killer. So now the psycho killer takes precedent, and then he gets put in their hand, and we're gonna start like a little discard pile, just kind of like in the middle of the road, if you will, between these two paths that we can choose from. So now we've got 2 players now who each have a psycho killer that is kind of kept in front of them. And then it becomes this player's turn, and they've got like a dead end. And this is reverse the direction of play and end your turn without drawing a card. So not really, like useful right now. So they're just gonna, keep drawing. And so I'm going to draw. Now, so this player has drawn a hatchet. Now, so these are injury cards, and you'll see just kind of like how they kind of contribute, to the damage that you take. But right now it's in his hand, and so he's just going to keep it, and hopefully he gets an opportunity to get rid of them, because when psycho killer cards come into play, then all of these like little injury cards that you have in your hand, then you have to put in front of you, and then you start contributing to your injury pile. And so that's it's a bit of a bad example, like having the psycho killers, come out so early, because there's like no injury cards, like in play. So it could have been worse, like if we had injury cards, like in our hand. But that so I don't know, for better or for worse, we just had psycho killers and no weapon cards with us, that were to take any injuries. So so then we continue on, and so now we've got 2 players with no cards in their hand. I still have nothing, and so now these cards you gotta play. So it's behind you. You can pick up a total of 5 points worth of weapon cards from any injury piles. Now, if there are no weapons cards, shuffle this card back into either deck. So, right now, it unfortunately it doesn't apply, because we just really don't have any weapon, or we don't have any injury cards in front of us. So, and so then this person is going to continue. Now, there's like a whole, there's a whole slew of different cards, that we can take. So, like this betrayal card is every player is attacked and must play their weapon cards. Now, the thing is that so this person is just going to keep it in their hands. So that this is in their hand. The only cards that you immediately have to play is these black and red cards. These are what they call predicament cards. So in these predicament cards, you have to play them immediately. And but this card, can be kept in this player's hand, and then they can play it at an opportune time. And so then this will continue. And so now this person, so this player here, like their hand, they're starting to, like amass some weapons here, which makes it a little dangerous for them, because then if a psycho killer, like comes into play, then they have to drop those weapon cards in front of them, and it starts accumulating, to their injury pile. So, but hopefully they get an opportunity to drop them at some point. So, and all right. So, found footage. So, found footage is kind of like a fun genre, like of films that have come out lately, where you are. So, like, for instance, I guess like the first, I shouldn't say first, but like the most popular, horror, found footage horror film was the Blair Witch Project.
Right.
Have you seen the Blair Witch Project?
I have. I think everybody has.
Yeah.
Everybody thought that was like true too.
Oh yeah.
And then when we found out that it was staged, we're like, oh, it was like a big letdown.
So the marketing of that film was genius, because the filmmakers like really, like they were the ones that like built that urban legend. They really, just made the website, like made there's so much that they did to make it as real as possible.
Yeah.
And it was brilliant in that way. And so that is where kind of like this term found footage kind of comes from, is just that it's just become like a very popular trope in horror movies as of late. And so VHS is a good found footage horror movie out there. But Blair Witch still is, is just one of those found footage horror movies that I think is, I don't know, one of the most authentic, I suppose, when it comes to horror movies. That's the most true to like what found footage horror movies can be. So, but yes, so this found footage card, what it allows you to do is to view a total of 3 cards from the top of the decks. And so I'm just going to keep that with me, and I don't know, hopefully it is helpful at some point in the future.
So now is this more of a board game than a role playing?
Oh, this is a card game. Yeah, I mean, and so really, like the game ends when all psycho killers, have come into play. And so right now we have 2 psychos, that have come into play. And so then when all 5 psycho killers, have been revealed, then you just count up, how much you count up your injury pile, or just basically like your weapons that you have, kind of piled up here, and then whoever has the least amount wins. And so you have been, I don't know, injured the least, and so you've in essence kind of got off scot-free, I guess. But so but yeah, so it's a fun game, that really kind of captures, like the sense of a horror film, and I don't know, being chased by psycho killers, like in a forest and such, and betraying each other along the way, and including like slamming doors on each other, and all kinds of trap doors and booby traps, and all kinds of fun little stuff that you, and weapons that you may recognize, like from, various slasher films, from machetes to hatchets to God knows what, so
Wood chippers.
right. Right. So yeah, so it's it is a, I don't know, it's a fun game, the more the merrier, obviously.
So how many different ways, like wood chipper, like is there a wood chipper card? Like how many?
Sadly, no. That's it's a missed opportunity that is but
a mine shaft.
But no, there's there's guns and crossbows, and God knows there hooks and hatchets, and knives and what have you. So, but yeah, but it really, to give you like a little bit of the sense of some of these cards. So there is Slam the Door, and in Slam the Door, then and it is basically like a nope card. If you've played like anything like Exploding Kittens, or or any kind of fun little games like where you can just kind of cancel, it's just a cancel card basically. But so you put the card that you've just drawn back, and then draw the card underneath it instead, so like if for instance, like you like pull like a psycho killer, for instance, then you can just slam the door on them, and you can put that card back and then draw the card underneath it instead. So there's just like some fun cards that you can do, like this trap door, for instance. This trap door is it's kind of fun. You can end your turn by drawing from anywhere in either deck. So, for instance, if you knew that like a psycho killer, like was in this deck, or if you knew that a psycho killer was at the top of another deck, then you could play this trap door, and you could end your turn by drawing from anywhere in either deck. So then, like you could then avoid that psycho killer. And so, or there's some fun cards like Double Tap. So Double Tap, if you have just drawn a psycho killer, put it back anywhere in either deck. So you can just blast it back from whence it came. And so that's a fun card to play, like with some authority. Whenever you get an opportunity, to blast the psycho, then that's a lot of fun. But yeah, and then you can drop your keys. So when you drop your keys, then you give another player 2 cards from your hand. So you can give them some injury cards, or give them, like something that may,
So you pick the cards, or you give them.
Yeah.
They don't pick them. Okay.
Yeah. So it's fun in the sense that you can. There's a lot of variety to the cards, like as to what you can do, and I don't know, it makes for a fun play. So so Psycho Killer is definitely a game that I recommend for you. It's my friends and I have had just a lot of fun playing this game, and yeah, and we hope that you do too. And also it comes along with a lot of expansions. So there's a drinking game expansion called Bloody Mary, and you could, if you really wanted to, play with some Bloody Marys, for instance. You know what I mean? Or whatever you would like to drink with. But it the cards, like just very much encourage you, to drink as you go, as you play along, and that's a good time. So, and being that it is such a fast play, I mean, it can be 15 to 30 minutes, then you can heck, you can play again. I mean, it just really, doesn't take all that much time. So that's pretty great. So
we'll go. It's that time. We'll go on a break, and then when we come back off a break, what we're going to hit.
All right. Yeah. Then we'll maybe take a fun little walk with Whispering in the Walls.
All right. So, here we go. You're listening to the Aries podcast, the Aries Brood podcast, right here on the station that's letting veterans' voices be heard. You're listening right here on MBR. Hold fast, everybody. Quick break.
It's time for a vacation, and Fairway Travels is here to share great specials for you to choose from. Discover the charm and features of one of Sandal's 16 all-inclusive, luxury-included, adults-only resorts. Or a family-friendly beaches destination in the Caribbean. Or how about a couples resort in Jamaica? If cruising's your preference, get Thunderstroke aboard Carnival Cruise Lines or set sail on an award-winning Royal Caribbean ship. Join Virgin Voyages now for a wonderful adults-only sailing. It doesn't matter if you choose to travel by plane, train, automobile, cruise ship, or rowboat, we can help you reach your dream destination. Contact Fairway Travels today at 228-365-1012. That's 228-365-1012. Or email bookitnow247@gmail.com. Fairway Travels, where your journeys keep satisfying.
The station where our veterans' voices are heard. MBR Talk.
Hey, thanks for supporting our channel by watching and listening.
Find us on the web at mbradio.net.
All right, welcome back, everybody. So my name is Lucas, and you are watching the Aries Brood podcast. So we are going to get into Whispers in the Walls. So Whispers in the Walls, like I said at the top, that it's one of my favorite solo horror journaling games, and also it's a great way to just kind of spur some writing. And but like the last time that we played it, we didn't really get into the setup of it, and I just wanted to show you just how easy the setup can be. So all right, so this is Whispers in the Walls by Pantheon Games, and let's get into it. So now at a glance, it says that this is a solo game, and it can be played anywhere from like 15 minutes to an hour. It just kind of all depends, on how much time you want to give yourself to write and all that sort of thing. And so it is a investigative, dark game. And if the walls could talk, they always said, but you know better. In the late hours, during the absolute darkness, the walls will open their maws and whisper their secrets, shared through cries and wails and mimicry of the horrors within. You are a private investigator with the unique talent of teasing out their mysteries and piecing together their meanings. Throughout the game, you'll draw cards from your constructed Whispers deck to learn what the walls, ceilings, and floors are telling or showing you, keeping notes on what you think it all means, and ultimately conclude the truth. So, now, one like really great thing that it has in this game, because so these are like fairly, like mature games, and I do like the fact that it does have a little note on safety towards the beginning. Now, this little safety note is, this is a horror game and has gruesome depictions, body horror, infestation, and asks you to imagine scenes of all kinds of very difficult situations. So if at any time a selection becomes kind of like overwhelming, take a break, discard like the current card, or walk away from the game. Your safety is more important than the game. And this is true across like all role-playing games, and quite frankly, all games in general. I mean, if you're playing Monopoly, if it is just getting a little overwhelming for you and you feel like you're going to flip the table, just walk away. I mean, take a break. It's just a game. So, we're going to construct the Whispers deck, and we are going to do so by open a deck of cards. Oh yeah. So I am using a bicycle branded deck, and all it calls for is a deck of cards. And so you're going to open a deck of cards and remove the jokers. So I have removed the jokers and spades into their own deck. So we got a spades here. And for normal difficulty, we're going to use both jokers. And for an easy difficulty, then we would remove one joker. We're going to keep the jokers in. And we're going to shuffle the jokers and spades together to create the Hollows deck. So now, I don't know about you, but I'm not all that great of a shuffler. I've never really been like a great shuffler. And so one of these days, I don't know, I will get better at shuffling, but I have kind of gotten myself some plastic cards for that occasion. So these are plastic cards. They are not, they're not, I don't know, the typical like paper or kind of cardboard. They're plastic, and I don't know, they're just crispy, I guess, crisp, cards. And I don't know, I'm hoping that over time that they will actually like make me better and just like more confident at just shuffling, just because they won't, bend, and I'm not worried about like damaging them, in a way that the typical cards would be. Are you a good shuffler, Joel?
Hell no.
No?
The only good thing I'm good at is 52 card pickup.
All right. And so then we take, so we've taken the jokers and spades, and we have shuffled those together. And then we are going to create the secrets deck. And so we're going to draw 3 cards from the Hollows deck. And so those are the cards that we have. That's that deck that we just shook up. So that can go away. Take those 3 cards, and then 6 cards from the secrets deck. And the secrets deck is basically everything else. So we're going to take like the hearts and the clubs and what have you, And then we are going to shuffle those together. Right, is this? And the diamonds. Whoop. And we're going to shuffle these guys in. And a 1, and 2, 3. Okay. Okay. All right. So then we draw 3 cards from the Hollows deck, and then 6 from the Secrets deck without looking, and then shuffle them together. And so you should have 9 cards. So now you've got like these 9 cards, and this is going to be your Whispers deck. And so the idea is just that the Hollows, deck, the Hollows cards are kind of like your, I don't know, your difficult, spooky, like dangerous cards, and so you just don't know like what exactly you're going to kind of run into. And so unfortunately, for sake of time, then we aren't going to kind of get into a game. But what I will do is I will just kind of like rush through just a couple of minutes of actual gameplay here. So then first you establish like your location, and your location, you're just gonna turn over the first card, and so that's going to be a Queen of Spades. So the Queen here is a what's great is a little is a carriage house. Whoa. All right. Yeah. All right. So the carriage house. So the horse stalls look as they did the day that this place was abandoned. Even the last horse's skeleton still lays in its stall. The stall doors are now rotten and broken. The poor thing could have escaped if only it had waited the necessary decades. The flat above the stalls is ransacked and destroyed. Whatever the last day was like here, it was chaotic. And then it asks you a question of like, what natural feature is this carriage house built next to? A famous noble was known to own or frequent this place. Who were they? So then, like in the story, then you just decide, I think that's a noble who had a stable boy who worked here, or I don't know, some such thing. So, and that it was, I don't know, it was like next to a hill that was like often used for graveyards, for instance. I don't know. Who knows? So, so then once you've answered that question, then you move on. And so then we have a 7 of spades. So the spades. Okay. And it's a hollows. So in this hollows, so water forms and drips from many spots on the ceiling of this carriage, that we've come upon. Like a geological time lapse, stalagmites and stalactites form and devour the room until you stand in a large, dark cavern. Refuse is strewn about, but deep in the darkest recesses, shadows, is a lonely, scared creature. What is the creature? And you can make out an injury. What happened to it? So then you can, decide, that this was it's a creature. I don't know what kind of creature maybe hangs out with horses. Maybe like some kind of ratty cat, maybe. I don't know. So like I don't know what perhaps happened to it. Maybe it was like abandoned there in this stall. Well, that's dark and depressing, but then that's the nature of the game, isn't it? So then, and then you just kind of, once you've answered those questions, then you just kind of like move on. And so now it is diamonds. So and it is a 9. So 20,000, if you could count them, the small dead gnats that have collected in the unseen places of this ground just jitter and shake out of their burials. They twist and writhe to spell a single necrotic palindrome. So what have the gnats shown you? And it can be a word or a phrase. So these gnats have kind of like wormed their way, like to the surface, and they have made a word or phrase. And so, and then you decide what that is. And so, and then you just kind of like continue on, like with this story, kind of like building this story, building this investigation, like what exactly has happened at this carriage house, with this horse and this, this cat that you have come upon, and so all of these, like these great little writing prompts kind of like come along, like as you're playing. And so, this is actually, this is why Whispers in the Walls is just this is one of my favorites. It is just like a great, it's a great way to just spur writing short stories and getting yourself writing again. And I highly recommend it as well. So, and you can, play it by yourself, or you can, play with others as well. So, but it is, it's certainly a great game to, have along, in this spooky season, as we have, Halloween kind of like coming upon us. And so I highly recommend it. And so with that, then I think we'll call it a day here, but thank you so much for just spending some time with me this afternoon. And hopefully we'll be able to game again real soon. And if you have any ideas of games that we will should be playing in the future, then by all means reach out to us. I would love to play with you. And see you next time. All right, thanks so much.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in to Military Broadcast Radio. As we wrap up today's show, we want to remind you that the podcast of today's episode will be available right after we go off the air. So if you missed any part of the show or want to listen again, be sure to check it out. And remember, we're here to support and honor our veterans. Your stories and experiences matter, and we are committed to giving you a platform to share them. That's right. We're here to give our veterans a voice. So don't forget to catch the podcast and stay connected with us. Giving our veterans a voice.